GuMiho. Pure. Classic.
Yo, welcome back. Thank you for waiting. We're ready now to go into the final match. This is kind of an exciting one, too. I mean, either Maru or Classic move on. Classic survives. Hey, Protoss is not dead, and they still have a shot of maybe taking the whole show. Maru survives. I think it's a very realistic possibility. He takes the whole season. We get that 6SL. I don't even know if that's what they're calling it here in the studio.
G6L, G7L.
We're like GL6. I mean, how do we do this? No, I mean, it's going to be fun no matter what, for sure. But I think Maru probably has the upper hand, but Classic, he has looked very good. He handled GuMiho very well.
Yeah, Classic looked really good in that series against GuMiho. I feel like, GuMiho perhaps didn't do quite as much homework on Classic as Cure did. It seemed like Cure had a very tight game plan in terms of how to take Classic down and try and pick him apart. Yeah. And I'm a little worried for Classic for that reason, because I feel like Maru is one of those players that is just going to know how to kind of I was trying to make an analogy with a puzzle, then I realized it wasn't going to work.
What was the analogy going to be?
I was going to say it's like he's a puzzle, and like Maru's going to know how to like take it apart. It's like that's not what you do.
That's not what you do with puzzles. You're like, oh, good, the puzzle's here. You start taking it on.
The puzzle comes in the box, and you have to disassemble it.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's a bizarro world where that's what puzzles turned into.
But
you get an image, and then you just destroy it and put it back together again, I guess? I don't know.
But I do feel like Maru is the kind of player that, I mean, even if he didn't do his homework specifically for Classic, is going to be able to watch the games the Classic has played today and know exactly what he has to do to pull him apart at the seams. And that's concerning, because that's what we saw Cure do against Classic with some creative builds. I mean, I know that some people were posting even on sites like Team Liquid, where I think I remember one specific poster was like, I think that somebody is going to go like Armory, Widowmine drop, and just kill him, because he's not going for Probe Scouts, and he's delaying his Observers, and he's not going Oracles, he's going Phoenix, and that person was right. That's what Cure did in Game 2, and it killed him, and I'm worried Maru might have a couple more tricks like that, Tasteless.
Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing how this unfolds. Our final best of 3 of the evening. It's been a pretty short evening, too. We have not been live for that long.
On-site gaming. Maru.
But that is StarCraft, man. Sometimes you have very long epic games. Sometimes you have very explosive short ones.
Yeah, they've been fast games today, but I gotta say, I think overall, these have been maybe my favorite games that we've casted in GSL so far. I mean, Group D was also really fun, but here, now that we're in the round of 8 in Group A, I mean, it's just been a blast. I mean, the TVTs have been great, the PVTs have been great. It feels like even the series that are one-sided, they're one-sided in a cool way. They're one-sided because somebody's coming up with some clever tactics or some really sharp timings, or making just like snap decisions that win them the game, and that's fun. Really good day of StarCraft, really quality games.
You know, it's obviously a shorter season, but I would say this has been a really good season. You know,
absolutely.
Not all days in a season are made equally, but this one, pretty much every day, has really kicked ass. We've had some really exciting matches. You can see down at the bottom of the screen, these guys have had quite a history. Now, Maru has been basically a dominant force probably for the longest amount of time in StarCraft 2. I guess Rogue and Dark can probably pop up there. But, you know, I don't want to take that stat too seriously, because I think that, honestly, like, Classic could be in very good shape right now. It did seem like Cure was, like, surprisingly deadly in TVP. And, I mean, normally Maru's the guy we put at the top of the stack. But I almost feel like Cure looked a little bit better than him, to be honest.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me too much. I just always, anytime I would watch GSL, if it's you and Dan casting, and I would see Cure play TVP, I'm just like, oh yeah, the Protoss is in trouble, man.
This is going to be bad.
Every single time. I don't know what it is specifically about his approach. It just feels like he knows how to kill people, and he always does it.
Well, he's a very deceptive, sneaky Terran. He knows kind of how to hit where you're not quite at. One of the things I like about this matchup over a matchup that has a Zerg in it is that there's no creep. So, you know, both sides, have to really work around Fog of War, where, you know, a lot of, versus Zerg, whether it's, you're a Protoss or a Terran, there's a point in the game where it's kind of like, well, they have enough of the map. They have eyes everywhere, and you're trying to, like, just kind of shave off the edges of their vision and try to, continue to make pressure and close in, where This one, you can have a Warp Prism that will blindside a Terran who's moving out, or a Medevac drop that will just come right in. Stalkers can blink on top of small sets of units. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can both catch each other, so you got to really be on top of your game when you're playing, and I think that's exactly what we saw from Cure.
Yeah, Classic also did a lot of that against GuMiho. We would notice with his observers, with his pylon placement, even with patrolling probes across the map, just really playing the vision game to the best of his ability, and he was able to navigate that into a win. I mean, information is really a big part of the battle here. Maru actually with a nice catch here, going to spot this probe, confirm there is no proxy down here. And we have a lot of Hellions and a lot of Reapers on the map right now, Tasteless.
All right, here comes that small push now. I'm sorry, is there no medevac?
No medevac with this one.
Right?
No,
okay,
Starport
yeah.
just
Starport's
now
not even done.
up.
I've seen enough games where I'm like, oh, they're going to elevate her in there. It's like the Starport's not done.
No, this is designed just to run down here the main base, or the natural expansion, excuse me, and pick off as many probes as possible. As the splash damage from the Hellions is going to try and come in. So far, not really big connections there with the Hellions, and so the Reapers are going to try and finish the job. They do get 5 probes in total. Now coming into the main base, that Adept will be able to kill one of those Reapers once it shades, but there's so many probes going down. I feel like this is going better than it usually does. 9 probes in total. Maru now taking the worker to lead, and to make this attack happen, he had to delay his natural expansion a little bit, but it more than paid for itself.
You got to wonder if maybe some kind of a wall in there at the entrance could have helped out with that, so they couldn't just run in. Then again, I guess Reaper bombs can just kind of force things up, but you know, the fact that they can just, you know, kind of ignore what you have defending and go right on top of the workers, that's got to be rough. So, you know, he did kill off quite a bit. You know, obviously when you see anybody sacrifice units for workers, there's always the opportunity to try to get some kind of counterplay in here. Can he actually snipe the SCV? You know, hold on a second.
Ooh, I like this play here by Classic, getting on top of the siege tank. In the meantime, there is a Widow Mine drop going off in the natural. He spots it too, so nice awareness there. The Stalkers eventually do get cleaned up there, and the natural expansion. So that hurts there for Classic, but at least this Widow Mine for now got deflected. I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I'd rather lose those 3 Stalkers than like 8 probes to this Widow Mine in the natural.
Yeah, very, very scrappy game to start this off. Stalker Blink's done, which is going to make medevacs a lot less safe on the map in general.
Oh, is he going to catch this one? He knows.
Yeah, imagine that you could fly, but something with legs could catch up to you. That's
it's literally a spaceship.
Imagine you're like on an airplane and you look down and there's like a horse that just kind of runs past the plane in flight. That's what that is.
Eyes light up and it starts shooting lasers
That's
at
right.
you.
Oh no, those aren't horses. Those are stalkers. So, you know, he's got the Warp Prism. He has the 3rd base, so this doesn't necessarily mean it's any kind of committed all in. I've kind of talked about this a lot. I thought we were going to see it a little bit more, but people have basically stopped doing the 2-base Stalker Warp Prism play.
Yeah, that's more of a European thing for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I remember
the Koreans seem to kind of be over it.
I was talking with Scarlett about this last night, actually, because I was asking her to recommend me some PvT builds because her Protoss is still better than my Protoss, even though she mains Zerg.
That sounds like Scarlett, yeah.
Some more attacks coming in. Nice harassment here with these Stalkers. But I mentioned to her, I said, you know, in GSL, we haven't really seen a lot of 4-gate blinks. So, like, do you have any, like, cool blink builds that I can do? Because I feel like 4-gate blink doesn't work at the top level. And she's like, yeah, you're just coping. All the Korean Protosses are coping. It's still really good. So
really?
I don't know why we don't see it. I don't know why we actually don't see it as much anymore. But
it seems like with some of these builds, too, the 2nd tank comes out late. It seems like you know, the 1st tank can at least, you know, not make the thing just spiral out of control. But the 2nd tank, like we were talking about in an earlier game, like, can't you just blink on top of the natural then and kill the bunker? I don't know. Anyways, in this game, you know, we've got him continuing to roam. So this is like the Stalker all in, only it's really just like a harass. You just kind of use these 4 Stalkers, like it's an Archon drop or something, and then just juggle them out and see what damage you can get. And he's gotten 6 SCVs, which is very good.
Yeah, there's a ton of SCVs that have gone down in total, but what I'm worried about is this push coming across the map with 3 siege tanks, 2 marauders, and a ton of marines. It's timed out to go with +1 combat shields and stim packs. So Warp Prism is going to get recalled. All hands on deck here for the defense of Classic. Shield batteries getting thrown down. Concussive shell also being researched now. Classic, he will have 2 Colossi, but Thermal Lance still about 20 seconds away. Keep in mind, there also is a Raven here for disables, so Classic is going to try and reach this position a little bit, force those disables, and then pull back.
Okay, so he's so well positioned with these tanks. He's really kind of taking the placement of the buildings and using it against Maru. Look at how he could just hammer him if he tries to move out. Ah, pick him up.
Stalker able to disable that Widow Mine, but this is just such a tough position to breach. Charge 6 seconds away. All right, here comes Classic.
Oh
Engages,
my
disables
God.
come in. Only Stalkers on the ground
my
below this, so
God.
he's just gonna get mowed down.
I think he can just kill him.
I think
Am I
you're
correct
right.
about that?
I think you're right. I mean, even another full warp in shouldn't be enough to hold on to this, especially with 3 siege tanks coming into the natural expansion. And hey, this is one of the difficulties with these pushes is that 8-minute mark, man. They come out swinging, and it's so hard to hold on. Maru takes a decisive game number 1.
Damn. I do question the defensive setup there.
Yeah, the shield batteries did not do it, but I feel like Classic just didn't have any of the tools in the arsenal that he needed to
Aren't you
hold
supposed
on.
to push into the tanks with the Colossus and bait out the disables? That's what I feel like all the good players do is they force it. The disables come out, and then they go, ah, and they run back with batteries healing them. And then the rush, I mean, maybe the rush would still work, but at least it's like not going to be as good.
I thought that was also the game plan, especially
Yeah.
with Thermal Lance not done yet, is you just kind of posture as if, okay, I'm going in for the engagement now, and then Terran throws down the disables and you pull back, but
It could be that Maru came from under as well.
maybe.
But I'm not sure. You know, sometimes when you're harassing a player, like with a Warp Prism, like you're like having to do everything you do back at home, and like if you lose a Warp Prism to like one Widow Mine or something, it's dead. So you're like, you almost tunnel vision on that, and then like the Terran's halfway across the map, like ready to kill you, and you're like, I've gotten 7 SCVs.
I feel
Could
like
be something like that.
I think the way that the early game went with, it was like 9 probes that got taken out by those Hellions and the Reapers was almost the nail in the coffin. I think that's just a little bit too much damage because Classic, he did everything that he could to try and buy some time and claw back. He went for a really sick Warp Prism drop with 4 Stalkers, which, you know, the Warp Prism, not only are you able to inflict that damage on your opponent, but also it's a pinning maneuver where your Terran opponent has to have some units back at home to defend. But it didn't quite work the way that Classic planned, and I don't think he ever was really able to make up enough ground from losing such a significant part of his economy earlier because, you know, behind that Classic, he knows that he has to be ahead in bases against the Terran, so he's still building the 3rd Nexus. He knows he needs splash damage, though, so he's going for the Colossi, he's getting Thermal Lance, he's going Blink, so he has to invest in a lot of Stalkers. So all these things that he needs to do, but if you're about 10 probes down from where you usually are, the tempo just isn't there. When that push comes in, you really don't have the toolkit that you need to defend it. And so that was Maru just identifying the situation, coming in with a sick 2-base push and delivering a win in game number 1. Now only 1 win away from going to the offline portion of the GSL. He might do it, Tasteless.
On-site gaming. Maru.
It really does feel like Maru just has these games where he like looks at it, he goes, oh, you can't do that, and just goes and kills him. He's like, oh, is that what you're doing? You're dead. All right, dead.
We were talking about this a little bit on the break after the first Maru series.
Yeah.
How sometimes, you know, if you're playing a game like chess, or if you're playing an RTS game, occasionally you get those moments where your opponent will make a move and you're like, no, actually you can't do that. I know the reason why. I'm going to show you. You just lose. And
oh, there it is. Nope. All right, I'm taking this one. This one's mine.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It feels like we've had a couple of those moments today, not only from Maru, but also from Cure.
Yeah.
Just really cool stuff that we're seeing out of the Terran players. I mean,
so I don't know about that last game. I feel like maybe you're supposed to bait out the disable, but also the structural placement wasn't really that good. But then again, you know, a lot of times one of the mistakes people make when they reflect on a StarCraft game is they look at the final fight, and really it's about everything that led up to that.
Exactly.
So he did. Oh, hold on.
2 gateway opening here for Classic. Okay.
2 gates, and there's not a core.
Yeah, so first gateway's going to finish. Classic's going to throw down the core.
All right. I don't think I've cast with this one.
Yeah, this is a little different. I'm not quite sure what to expect either, and
so I guess
there's a Nexus going down behind it too. So, I'm scratching my head, Tasteless, trying to make
Okay.
heads and tails of this.
So there's only been one pylon made.
I think.
Well, there's a second one coming now, but
I think we'll have an idea of what the plan is once we see what the first unit that comes out of that gateway is going to be.
well,
So
we got to see if he keeps making probes too.
I think it's going to be 2 adepts. Yeah, 2 adepts. So this might be the kind of situation. Yeah, pro production is now going to continue after those 2 adepts. So what I'm imagining here from Classic is that we're going to have him try to do like maybe a 6 adept flood at the natural expansion here for Maru. That's my instinct when I see this. But it's tough to say.
You could be right.
No
man,
warp gate. No warp gate. Is he going for a Stargate behind this as well? Is he trying to play Brood War? Okay, there's warp gate.
Yeah.
Was delayed quite a bit. Interesting build here from Classic.
You're right about the 6 adepts thing. I'm glad you're able to parse this here. Very unusual build, but you know, you're slowing down your development back at home to have an unusual amount of units at a weird part in the game, and a lot of this is it's kind of like a rug pull, where you're just gonna have you pull the rug right out from under them as the game starts up.
Oh, Reaper's gonna get here into the main base. Okay, 2 Stalkers are now being warped in rather. Reaper's gonna get in, gets the full scout off. It's unfortunate these adepts were in on an attack move, or they might have been able to catch this Reaper. And so Maru has a very good idea of what's going on. And also I want to say, back at the home here of Maru, it's not that bad of a situation. I mean, if Classic had done this against a low ground CC opening, you know, like Reaper into Reactor, into CC, into Factory, or something to that effect, then maybe there's more potential to get damage done for the opening that he went for. But this is a high ground CC. Maru is very safe. He's not really in any danger.
Yeah, I mean, the opening that Maru elected to go for, you're not really in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it is designed to be turtle-ish. And so whenever you see builds like this and they don't land right, it's a very difficult game from here on out. It's a very unnatural one to play from.
And it's one that you're also a little bit behind,
yeah,
I think.
And your development is staggered a little bit. Everything's like, I don't know, if you've ever done like a super weird cheese and it just backfires and you're like, okay, well now we're in the unknown.
Right.
Now I'm going to have to try to like figure out how to do this, and it's all going to be bad.
Okay, Widowmine will get taken out here. Medevac frantically tried to save it, but we'll have to go back home. And Classic, it seems like he's going to be content to 2-base a little bit here. He's not opting for the fast third, perhaps because his game plan just kind of got stopped in its tracks. Instead, it's going to be him going for Robotics Bay and going up all the way to 4 gases on 2 bases. So a bit of a delayed third Nexus here. We'll see if he throws down additional gateways or maybe even a Twilight Council.
So I think he's going to have another one of these moments. He sent 4 SCVs. He sent a tank, a Cyclone, and a Liberator, and Marines.
Yeah, this
and
is
he's like, nope.
This is a scary army. So War Prism is underway here for Classic, and I actually, okay, he cancels it.
Okay, so he's going to make an Immortal, but you know, how quickly is that going to get out? I mean, even with Chrono Boost, I mean, I'm not sure you can get that out in time. He's got the Medevac in the back. He's actually not healing with it. I think he's actually trying to make sure that he can just juggle with it instead.
Some nice micro there by Classic, was able to whittle down the Marine count just a bit.
Can he get the Pylon?
Yeah,
there's only one. Oh, no, there's 2. There's 2, sorry.
Yeah, there's another one powering the Grobo, so this Immortal will be able to pop. Stalker is continuing to warp in here. Liberator is going to siege up more forward. He has to be careful, though. Lost 2 Stalkers to the siege tank. Okay, coming in from the back, he is able to take down the siege tank, and now he's going to be able to take down the Liberator as well. And that takes a lot of the oomph out of this push, especially if more Stalkers are warped in here on the high ground.
Oh, this is so weird.
And there is going to be more damage coming in on the Protoss player, but eventually this should get cleaned up. The question is how much damage has really been done here, because the worker counts, they've almost equalized. Classic, keep in mind, he's on 2 bases, not on 3. It's a lot of idle time. And besides this, I mean, Classic tech-wise, he really only has Colossi going for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, we see that attack fail. By the way, great control from Classic.
Yeah, that was very well done.
We see that attack fail, and it's like, I think Maru's actually okay, though.
Yeah, Supplies gives the lead right now to Classic, but keep in mind, you know, he has that 1-1-1. He's got his starport out, his factories. It's just Colossi right now for Classic. The Twilight Council isn't even started. There's no Forge. There's a later 3rd Nexus than the 3rd Command Center. And the worker counts are even, which means Terran is slightly ahead because, of course, they have that orbital command mechanic. And Forge and Twilight now coming out for Classic. I mean, he's not out of this game by any means. This is truly anyone's game to win, but I'm liking Maru's position a little bit more here.
Yeah, the third base is going to be probably an unsteady one. Thermal Lance is coming. The production's looking very good. I don't know that Maru wants to attack until 1-1 is done, by the way. That just started. I don't think Protoss can attack the Terran. Wait, oh, he's going to attack again?
He might be.
Look at me. I mean, look, this is, again, guys, this is kind of a hard one because it started out so weird.
Yeah.
I guess the truth is if you can disable the Robo stuff, but he's only got one Raven.
Oh, there's SCV. Okay, I was like, wait, where are you going? Okay, there's a third next.
I'm like, that's to repair the Thor that's not in the game. Like,
yeah, well, Maru gonna posture a little bit here and then pull back.
okay.
I think this is a smart decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, just scare down Protoss a little bit. I mean, sometimes Protoss, they see things like this and they might delay upgrades and do another round of Warpins, and
yeah,
that is one of those ways that Terran can kind of increment their advantage a little bit. I mean, if you delay the Forge upgrades by 10 or 15 seconds because you force an extra round of Warpins because Protoss thinks they might die, that's a larger window that you're going to have once those 1-1 upgrades come in, right? So Maru just sharking around the map a little bit, doing it very well. Meanwhile, Classic powering up with 6 more gateways and charge Tasteless.
Classic find an opening. The wall in here, I mean, it's taking a lot of damage, but better the wall than the SCVs. He does clip off one Stalker, but, you know, I think that time is on Maru's side. 1-1's going to finish up here. A big amount of production coming up. Kind of a weird opening that's sort of, you know, slowly, rockily come into what looks like a normal game. And, yeah, I think it's going to be slow for a little bit.
Yeah, we've normalized quite a bit. Classic now taking that 4th base. We'll be going for the triangle 4th. Does now have that 2nd Forge done. So this is looking kind of similar to the games that he played against GuMiho in terms of build order timings, with the exception of how he got here, really, with kind of a wonky 2-gate opening there by Classic and then Maru going for that early push. But from here, I mean, if I tuned into this game right now, I would have had no idea what a crazy beginning that we had, because this is looking quite standard. And I feel like Classic, if he continues to play this well, if he doesn't suffer too much damage, he could be in a good position, but it's scary with the army that Maru is assembling back at home. He's now adding Ghosts into the mix. His siege tank count is already at a healthy 5. He's adding in more Marauders. He's getting his Viking count up.
But Protoss is really starting to get a wide spread. I think the 5th base is going to be inbound here in a little bit. You know, the Protoss can start to take bases at I don't know if exponential is the right term, but, you know, they can really pick up after they get a couple of them. But Maru does seem to be ready to start to take his swipes.
Ooh, missed this one. Nice Zealot run by coming into the 3rd base here. We'll pick up 6 SCVs.
They actually blended into the ground. I didn't see him for a second. Yeah. I'm like, what do you see? I don't know what's going on. So
I didn't even notice it until I saw the SCV dead counter on the left side. And all right, here we come in. EMP will go off on those Templar. I don't think Classic is going to mind that too much as long as they are able to get out of this position. I don't think Storm is here in the cards. I think it's just for feedback.
Yeah,
these Vikings are scary.
They're starting to chip away at those Colossi.
Blink only a 1/3 of the way done, as we did opt for charge before Blink here for Classic.
If he can wedge these tanks up by the rocks, he's getting closer.
Tense moment here.
He's going for it. The Vikings are in a perfect position over here on above this mound. I actually think the Classic just died.
Yeah, that might be it. This is a very difficult position to breach here for Classic. Just looking at the supplies, I mean, this 4th base is forfeit. Classic, if he wants to re-expand, will have to do it all the way to the north. Blink still only about 3/4 of the way done. Immortals now being added in because I think Classic realizes that the lifespan of these Colossi is not very long. Disable's also popping off on both of them as the Bio just continues to mow down the Protoss army. Immortals scrambling to get away, but Tasteless, I think we're gonna have Maru advancing to yet another semifinal.
All right, guys. Well, it's just kind of like the campaign where the Protoss were always getting their asses kicked. That's what it's like in real life right now. This game is over. GG, Maru is going on to the round of 4, giving us 2 Terrans out of possibly 4 Terrans or 2 Terrans and 2 Zergs. We'll see. Yeah,
we'll see who advances from Group B in the round of 8. 2 more Terrans might join them at the top, although I would love to have some TVZ action going on.
Yeah.
But, yeah, fun games today, man.
Great games today.
Classic, I got to say, you know, it wasn't the best series there against Cure. I feel like Cure really did his homework. Showed a bit of better stuff there against Maru, but Maru just, I mean, he's the best player in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's so good.
I mean, he might not be the reigning world champion, but he's my world champion. Deep in my heart, you know, like.
That's your truth.
I think, I mean, full credit to Oliveira, but I mean,
Yeah,
Maru
yeah.
is just so good. I think that he is still a force to be reckoned here in the GSL, even though he advanced second in his group. I'm curious to hear what he has to say in his interview, especially about that series there against Cure.
Yeah, you know, Cure kind of stole the show today.
Yeah, he played so well.
It's too bad Classic opened up with that build. It was just not a good call. He's basically hoping, and look, Maru does do some greedy stuff sometimes. Like, let's say that there was like a weird proxy Rax, or there was like
or a low ground, like a Reaper with a low ground CC also,
or
is
CC
not.
first. I don't know. I mean, something crazy. Then he can basically kind of coin flip win that. But Maru played an extremely conservative game, and so it's like that doesn't work. And now you don't have you know, a bridge into the mid game that's going to be healthy. The first part of any build is by far the most important because everything ripples from there. Maru, congratulations. He says thank you. What an amazing series today. So you got to the winner's match first, but you fell down, losing to Cure. And you did defeat Classic to get to the round of 4. How do you feel? I'm pretty frustrated I didn't win my winner's match. I'm going to be thinking about that matchup a lot. Yeah, for you to make it to the semifinals is just a natural thing, right? The match against Cure, just the winner's matchup. You did proxy Rax twice. Do you regret doing that again? No, I don't regret choosing that build. Let's talk about the game against Cure. Did the game's result as you expected? I didn't really think about it that much. Yeah, that sounds like you, Maru. You don't really reflect on it that much. You don't care that much. So you've already made 5 championships in GSL. The semifinals is just before you. You've got 2 Terrans here in the Final 4. How many Terrans are going to make it to the semifinals? And what is your opinion on the lineup we've got? I'm not a fan of TVT, so I hope the Zergs make it. They're asking him his thoughts on Beyond. I think he's been playing really well recently. I think he has a chance to make it to first from his group. I guess this is a joke.
I don't.
No.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, I can't tell when they're all laughing. Did you hear that? Beyond's going to make it out first, but he's laughing. Don't you want to make another title? Are you hungry to get a 6th GSL CODES championship? As long as I make it to the finals, I think I've got a good shot. But whenever I make it to the finals, I'm always losing in the finals. That's what's been happening to me recently. But you did get a G5L. And then you lost in that finals. Yeah, you've had some rough finals, I think referencing Katowice. I think Zerg's also had some good performance recently. I'll just play following my heart and my mind. What are your thoughts moving forward? It's going to be very important for me to see fans on site. I hope that for those who show up live, I can show a great performance. All right, well, there you go. Congratulations, Maru. He says thank you. And this has been the long evolution of me watching Castor Park try to get more of an answer out of Maru. And he's like, one-word answers, and kind of, whatever. I don't know. I don't think about it.
All right.
All right. Well, 2 Terrans survive. 1 Terran dies. Protoss is gone.
Yeah, no Protoss in the top 4 here at GSL. It was a good run. Classic had some good games today. I mean, no shame in that.
It's, you know, Hero wasn't able to make it, man. Yeah, tough groups. And do join us on Thursday for Group B that is going to be most certainly a longer day of games than the one we had here today. Today was, I think, probably our shortest day of the entire show.
That was a really quick one.
So Cure and Maru are, you know, at least in the Final Four so far. I mean, it could be Cure versus Maru again here in the finals, which I would very much welcome.
Oh, that would be a fantastic series.
Yeah.
But really, any way this one shakes out, it's going to be good.
It's going to be at the Vita 500 Coliseum. That's at Jomshill Station. Do not come to the normal GSL studio. It is also not the studio that's at Digital Media City. So
it's the one
we have a lot of studios now here to Frigate TV.
It's close to, it's right next to Latte World. It's like right next to the entrance to Latte World Underground.
You want to be near the one that's by Lotte Tower. That's the tallest building in the country, one of the tallest buildings in the world. So it's the one that's near that, and it starts at 6 p.m. KST. There'll be more information for tickets coming soon.
Absolutely beautiful Coliseum, by the way.
I'm just making that PSA out here because every time we have a final, there's people that are like, I'm in Samsung and the building's empty. And I'm like, you're in the wrong place, my friend. But we look forward to having you guys come out. We don't have many more live days left here at GSL.
Just a couple days left, and next group is going to be Bunny, Solar, Dark, and Beyond. 2 of those players will advance to join Cure and Maru in the offline top 4 portion of the GSL next week. As getting closer and closer to the end of the road here at Season 1 of 2023 GSL. It's been a pleasure, Tasteless. It's been a lot of fun games today, especially.
It's been fun casting with you, State, and I got to say, man, these games have kicked ass. I'm sad the season is shorter, but, you know, we're doing what we can here to keep this show going on as long as humanly possible. And I think this is going to be a great set of games here on Thursday. So 6:30 p.m. KST, and that's going to be the last day of our normal time because the finals is going to start a half hour earlier.
Yeah, finals is going to be a loaded day with both the semifinals and the finals there at that Coliseum. Beautiful Coliseum. I can't wait to show you guys it.
It's it's actually my favorite of all the studios we've got here. So it's very cool. Yeah, I mean, hopefully we get some Zergs moving on. I always like it when we have a little bit of a possibility of different races coming in the finals. Do not forget to watch the ESL SC2 Masters Summer 2023 Regionals. You can see them at the dates listed below. Yeah,
always good content in StarCraft. Not only in online cups, also here at the GSL and ESL.
Yeah.
It's a fun era, man. I mean, the community's really picked up the torch and supporting this game, supporting the players.
And there's always, you know, so much going on in the ecosystem, you know, even if it's just community supported right now. So do check that out and show them your love. And, yeah, thank you guys for joining us here for another great day of GSL. I look forward to seeing you guys in 2 days as we go and find out who's going to be in the Final Four.
Hopefully not 4 Terrans. Hopefully we get some Zergs in there.
That's going to be a tough one to spin. We need to get a Zerg in there. I think we will, though. I think Dark is a shoo-in. Could Beyond make it? I mean, maybe.
I think Dark and Beyond are probably my 2 favorites to advance from that group. But I mean, Solar's also been playing really well. Bunny also has just quietly been one of the best Terrans in the world for a long time.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We love you, and we will see you in 2 days as we get to the last day of this season of the GSL Codes. Bye-bye.